juste commencer? Sure. On dit-tu un petit bonjour? Sure. Hello, everybody. We are, c'est ma cousine. If my skeleton is made of steel, would I rust? Or would my insides intrigue the minds of those I seek? If my bones were made of ash and oak, would my body sink or float? And when I die, who will know what to make of me? Bury me or burn me? Le jour où tu m'as enterré de l'autre côté la rivière, c'est le jour où j'ai compris que tu as choisi d'oublier toutes tes prières. Sous la terre, t'as planté tous tes regrets. Sous la terre, t'as parsemé tes secrets. Do you see me now? Does it make you cry? Won't you comfort me and dry my eyes? I'm just wasted and tired and tongue-tied. I'm foolish, I'm fragile. I will not have blood in my hands, and I will not die any less of a man. Jour où on m'a déterré de l'autre côté la rivière, tu t'es rappelé d'une dernière prière.
Wow. Keep it going for C'est ma cousine. Wow, thank you, ladies. We'll be talking to Sylvie and Liz a little later in the program. Welcome, everybody, to the last Sunday. It is episode 7 of the last Sunday. My name is Crystal Peterson. I'm a Cree Métis from Buffalo Narrows, Saskatchewan. I'm the new host, or a new host. You'll see Joel a little later on in the program. I want to just welcome you guys here today. There's been so many things going on in the world, and this event is always such a great time to kind of talk about what has been happening and really kind of reach out and share all of that knowledge. So I just wanted to take a second. I have a really hard time with land acknowledgements just because they seem, this is my land, this is where I come from, this is my home. And I welcome everyone here and those that are watching. I welcome you here to this land. And sometimes I've been struggling with, we've fallen into kind of a pattern of saying the same thing every time, and I find that we need to kind of shake that up every once in a while. And I want to just kind of reach out to yourselves or extend to yourselves. If we just take a moment, whatever that means for yourself, to acknowledge what that means to live on this land and be here on Turtle Island, and to just take that time in your mind to really figure out what that means for yourself. Amazing. All right. A few housekeeping things. We're here today at the Broadway Theater. We extend a huge thank you to the Broadway Theater for hosting us here every Sunday. It's amazing to have this nice big venue. For those of you that are watching at home, we are here with all the performers that you will be seeing today. And for those of you watching at home, I hope you guys are enjoying the show. So I just wanted to kind of just extend that thank you. And I want to talk about the chat. So we have Laura from Some Theater who is watching the chat for us. So introduce yourself on there. Say where you're watching from, and let us know where it is and how you're doing. I also wanted to kind of just throw out a big question that we're coming into sunny days and sunshine and summer. What is your favorite thing to do outside now that it's sunny? Now that the snow is gone, is there anything that is your favorite activity or thing to do once the sun has come and graced us in the summertime? One of my favorite things is flower season. I am like just dying to like put flowers out on my balcony right now. And I know that there's still frost, so it's a little early, but I've just been like, I think every time I've been going to a store, I pick up a new plant. My house is gonna be filled with plants very, very soon. Awesome. We are gonna check in with from Regina. We're gonna check in with Judy Wenzel. This is Some Theater Regina joining us here for the last Sunday. Hi, Judy, how are you?
Hi, Crystal. I'm well. How are you?
I am doing good. How are things in Regina?
Oh, things in Regina are, well, they're gray today and a bit cold and wet. And the pandemic rages on. And I don't know, I read that New York Times article earlier this week that was going around all about the notion of languishing. And how that is a pretty great word to describe how so many of us are feeling right now. And it certainly is resonating with me.
Yeah, for sure. I know there's lots of serious things happening in Regina. What is it feeling like there in the city? Like, what's the feel?
Yeah, there's been some tension this week, certainly. And I know that Saskatoon is in a similar boat, but with a lot of protests and counter-protests around the lockdown and restrictions and vaccinations and masking. And there's been a group here in Regina who's been very committed to protesting the lockdowns, continued lockdowns. And this week they brought their protest right to the grounds of the Regina General Hospital. Which was a real raw and upsetting thing for a lot of people, as you can imagine. But a friend of mine, actually, one of my best friends, he went out just with another friend a couple nights ago to bang just a couple of pots with a sign that said "Thank you" outside of the Regina General Hospital. So there's also a lot of gestures of kindness and support and positivity that are also happening in the city to counter those that are less so.
Yeah, it's challenging. I know we're dealing with the same thing every weekend. There's like a new protest, and I know there's a lot of anger around. So like really focusing in on those positive moments or finding a bit of joy in this crazy time is really, with what we really need to do, right?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Another thing that's been happening outside of the Regina General Hospital is people have been writing words of support in sidewalk talk So that's something that those who are coming and going from the hospital, visiting loved ones, or those who work in the hospital and are experiencing this extremely stressful time, are given hopefully a little boost on their way out and in.
Well, I don't know, I hope that we can just kind of find, that's amazing that they're doing that, and I hope that we can kind of just send that joy out to many other people and continue that tradition. Maybe we should be doing that. Grab chalk and let's put some joyful words on the sidewalks as we kind of walk, right?
Which is a some theater thing. That's what
is.
some theater did all over Saskatoon last summer. So really, it's like a continuation.
For sure, for sure. Amazing. Thank you so much, Judy.
Thanks,
We'll talk to you
Crystal.
later.
Bet.
All right. I would like to call up Olive Watts to the stage, who's going to be our ranter. I love the rants. You never know what's going to be said or spoken in this moment. And this young up-and-coming artist, I want to call you an artist. I know you love the art so much, and we are very excited to have you here. And take it away, Olive.
Thank you. So, hi, my name is Olive Watts. I'm 13 years old, and I currently attend the Creative Action Program at North Park Wilson School. My class recently did a project where we learned how to write spoken word poetry. And so the piece I'm going to recite today kind of reflects on everything that's happened in my life this past year. We're trapped in a world where perfection is key, and we're stuck trying to figure out who we're supposed to be. And sure, people will say, just be you, but the person they think is you isn't true. So you wait for the cue that tells you to be somebody new, and suddenly, you're lost. The child you once were has slipped through your grasp. You were so ready to grow up that you grew up too fast. You forgot to be a kid who could see the beauty of being able to run and be free. You forgot what it's like to dance in the rain, and all that's left now is that feeling of pain, the pain that's so strong in your mind and your heart that you can't even remember how to play the part of the person you're supposed to be, so you go with the flow, so you don't get lost at sea, but somehow anyway, you're lost on the way, and it's your choice now to rush on, or just pause, and stay, and although at this point, your world is still gray, your life is your backdrop, so paint it your way.
Amazing. Wow. Thank you so much, Olive. Wow. Give it up for Olive one more time. I love hearing our young people speak. They have such incredible things to say, and we need to take time to listen to them speak a lot more. It's very, very important. I just want to take a few minutes to thank our sponsors, because we wouldn't be able to put events on like this without our wonderful sponsors. So Canada Council for the Arts, Sask Arts, and the Dr. David Edney Theatre Fund are a few of our sponsors. And right now, I guess I want to bring up, I feel like I'm going so fast. I'm so nervous. Hosting is scary. I don't know if it's a little more weird now. I think because everything is so virtual, and you never know what's like. I have a great audience. The performers here are amazing and being so gracious. But you never know what's happening at home. So make sure you're checking in on that chat and sending your questions. Let us know how you're feeling and what your favorite thing to do in the summer is. Like I said, I can't wait to plant flowers. I want to check in with Gord McCall in Swift Current with Lyric Theater. Hi, Gord, how are you?
Hi, Crystal. I'm good. How are you doing?
I am doing all right. How are things in Swift Current?
They're good and bad. The good is that spring is eventually going to get here and blue skies will arrive. We have looks like we're encountering some variants of the vaccine um, of the virus, and so that's causing concern. Our cases seem to be up. Um, On the other hand, vaccines are up as well. We're getting a little better coverage than we were. And I guess it has to do with supply as much as anything. And so, we're optimistic that more people are going to have access to them, particularly in a younger age group. It's down to 44 years right now. Um, the quicker it can get down, uh, to younger age groups, I think the better for everybody. But so that's happening on the theatrical front. We just launched the other night our new uh, digital stage. Um, we have Lyric Digital Stage, Open Stage, Lyric Digital Stage, Write Out Loud, which is our literary program. And we just launched Lyric Digital Stage, Brave New World, which is about Shakespeare. We do the Great Southwest Shakespeare Festival down here, inspired by my time with the Shakespeare on the Saskatchewan Festival. And we hope to not remount, but do a production this summer. So we did a bunch of scenes from the plays, basically soliloquies, the other day. And I explained how Shakespeare's language is so much a part of our daily lives, we don't recognize it. A lot of people don't know that he invented 1,700 words that we use today, and compound words. Some people don't know that he invented the words skim milk, and accomplishment, and all sorts of words that we use actually on a daily basis. So he's ever present in our experience. And because he covered the human condition so masterfully, his stories resonate right through the ages to today. So we're very keen on getting our festival up and running this summer. So that's what we're really focusing on right now. And then everybody's staying healthy, basically.
Oh, for sure. I know we wish you all the best for the festival getting up and running in the summer. And
Thanks.
just wanted to kind of check as well. Is the lineups there for vaccinations as long as it is here in Saskatoon?
Well, we're a little bit smaller population, so it's all relative. We do have long lineups, but I don't imagine they're as long as in Saskatoon.
Okay. Thank you very much, Gord.
Great to be
Hope
here.
you're well.
Thanks for what you guys are doing. It's great.
Amazing. I just wanted to check in. So we've got Laura at home who is monitoring the chat, and I've gotten some responses. Someone enjoys bike riding by the river. Caller says she likes her cat watches birds chirping outside. My cat also does the same thing. There's pigeons on the balcony next door to mine. I finally put a screen over my balcony, and my cat just goes nuts, because the birds are just mocking her and she can't get them. What else is on here? Yeah, that is so great. And someone had said how much they loved Olive and her rant, so thank you very much again. I'm gonna call up Sylvie and Liz again. Put your hands together as our musicians make their way up here. I had to really practice. I don't speak French whatsoever, so I really had to practice. And am I doing it? C'est ma cousine?
It's perfect.
Oh, see. Oh.
I know exactly what you're
I
saying.
have such a hard time. I get a little anxious when French comes around. I try really hard. So tell us a little bit about your group. How did things get started? Just if you're free to share.
Of course. Well, Liz and I met at university, and we started sort of sitting closer and closer together. And we discovered we have, similar interests, and then started jamming. And it was about a year ago that we had our first creative confinement. And here we are.
Amazing. I know cousine is cousin in French. Are you two cousins?
Not biologically, but somewhere down the line, I bet we can find some kind of connection.
Some kind of connection. That's our families, right? They could eventually become brothers and sisters with your like really, really close friends or cousins. Amazing. Can you tell us a little bit about the songs? What was the first one called?
First song is called Waldheim, and it is sort of our take on the story of Sergeant John Wilson.
Yeah, so he was the first and last RCMP officer to ever be hung. Yeah, so it's kind of a conversation between him and his dead wife that he murdered. Yeah,
Very light and fun.
a little morbid.
Very light and fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, we kind of take on the role with the language. So I sort of take on the role of sergeant, and Liz is the wife.
Yeah, who speaks Français. So yeah, that was that one. And then this one that we're about to play, we actually kind of wrote on a whim for tonight. It's called So Long, John. Yeah, so recently the Johnny MacDonald statue in Regina got taken down. I think it was just maybe like 2 weeks ago about. So yeah, so we wrote this song, and this is also, we love just like, I guess, storytelling through conversation. So this is a conversation between Louis Riel and Johnny MacDonald. So they kind of go back and forth at each other. Yeah, a little bit in French and in English. So
To kind of, make light of a heavy situation. So
I really like that. Do you, I know, or I had seen, are you guys releasing like a YouTube video with your songs and things? Or do you have a Facebook page or any social medias where we can follow you?
if you guys check Instagram in like maybe a month, we will have a page.
In a month. Okay, we got to add that to the timeline. We will add that to our website.
yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, give it up for C'est ma cousine.
Ready?
Ready.
Hey Louie, my old pal, it's been quite some time to see you on the other side. The last time I saw you, you got tried for trying. The fool who pretends never wins in the end.
Bonsoir, Jean. Fait longtemps. T'as pas trop changé. Ça paraît que le whisky t'a bien fiolé. Et ton fils, le petit Chris, tireur des bois, tel père, tel fils, mais plus brave que toi. Ils dormiront pendant 100 ans. Ma voix les réveillera. So long, John, your time has come. Taking you down one by one. Salut, petit Jean. Bon débarras, un monument à la fois. So long, John, it's your time. Try not to forget. The fool who pretends never wins in the end. Yeah, so that's a brand new one. We just finished it today.
Thank you.
Woo-woo! I was told if you are looking for the translations, because that's what I'll be doing, you can go to, they are on the chat right now. They should be included on the YouTube in the chat, and they're also on the website as well, so you can go and check them out. Awesome. How are things? How are people doing? How are we doing? Yay! Awesome. I got another couple responses. Another Jenna on the chat had said that she is also waiting to garden. So that is a thing. It's like I've never been a flower I'm never a green thumb. I kill plants. And like somewhere down the line in the last year, and I think it was the pandemic, I just started liking flowers. I'm home now. I can look after them. And then Essie Grums on the chat too had said that going to Dairy Queen in the summer is also her favorite. Blizzards. What is your favorite blizzard? That is a good question. I don't know if there are blizzard lovers or if you like the peanut butter parfait. A what? Cookie dough blizzard. Man, there's so many great ones. It's I always like getting those snack cups. If you get the little mini ones, then you can get a few different flavors. I maybe shouldn't have said that out loud. Awesome. All right, so I'm gonna call up no, you know what? I'm gonna check in with Prince Albert, Roxanne, or Craig. How are you?
Oh my goodness. Well, I think like everyone else in the province, kind of COVID weary, languishing stuff. We had the same protesters, well, not necessarily the same, but some did come up from Saskatoon. And it happened to be also on the day that our very beloved educator, Victor Thunderchild, passed away from COVID. So it really resonated in our community. It was very difficult day. And but on other fronts, the vaccines keep rolling out. I insist every time I see someone got their vaccine, I go on their page and woohoo or yay or make sure it's a big celebration because it feels like it is. It's the only way I feel like we're going to get through this.
For sure.
We, as you know, did Drowning Girls in person and online last month, and now Spark is planning for 5.5. We're not. It's a COVID mix, and so we're pretty excited about that. I think we are hoping to announce fairly soon that we're going to be doing another play in a day in the fall. So we're very excited about that after the success of the first one. 24 hours to write a play, perform, adjudication, and present something, create something, and get up and hopefully by then we'll be able to do some of that in person, even if it's with limited audience. There are other things going on. We're certainly planning a lot. We've got another partner, like a fellow theater company, Odyssey's opening a play. Off the Cuff Productions continues to do work here in the Jam Street shared art space. So we are trying very carefully and responsibly to move forward and to continue to bring some art and some options to people in our community. It was I won't lie, it was a real amazing experience to be able to rehearse that show in March and perform it. And I think it was for the audience too, whether they were in person or not. And it was like a little glimmer that you have to hang on to right now, because it's not going to be forever. We will do this again, but I think our landscape has changed. And I guess it also has given us a chance to reflect on what's really important to our companies and to our communities. So did I miss anything?
Well, we were talking about, we think you're doing a great job hosting. Well done. And we were talking about blizzards here, and now we all want one. And I guess cappuccino score, Tracy tells us, is a flavor. And I think we all need to try that.
Yeah.
What
That's
is
the
the
lighter
flavor?
side.
Cappuccino score.
Cappuccino score.
Yeah.
I might have to go to Dairy Queen after.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
And all of us up here love biking by the river gardens and cats and anything to get us outside.
Yes.
As we're trying to get through paperwork, grant seasons, and all the things that we're keeping us inside. So we're hoping to join the great outdoors very soon.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing all your updates, and good luck to all of your upcoming shows and kind of getting through all of this craziness in the best way. And I hope that you were all, I send the best wishes to all of you and hope that you and your families are safe.
Thanks, and to you too.
Amazing. I would like to call up our actors. And as they make their way up to, it's time for the 10-minute play. This is might just be the next big thing in theater. You never know. We want to thank Hardly Art for supporting these plays each month. And we are very excited to have them as a partner and supporting us in this way. I am so excited. It's our first musical ever. We've never had a musical with The Last Sunday. This play was written by Joel Bernbaum and Connor Brousseau, and I really hope that you enjoy it. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I wrote it down. Just wait. The Ultimate Poke.
Oh, God. Another hate crime in Minneapolis.
Seriously? We just had one last week.
Yeah. Taser mishap.
What's a taser mishap?
I think it's like when you keep trying to deny systemic racism and then a cop kills another innocent person of color.
Powerful metaphor.
Simile.
They lost another shipment of vaccines in Massachusetts.
Seriously?
Yeah, fridge mishap.
What's a fridge mishap?
It's like when you go to donate to a good cause and your credit card gets denied, but you tell people you did it anyway.
It sounds like white people trying to help. Ugh. Oh, another high-profile celebrity from that movie you like is a child molester.
Seriously?
Yeah. Teenage mishap.
What's a teenage mishap?
It's like when you're Brian Singer.
We all know what Brian did, and nobody's doing anything about it. It makes me, Connor Brousseau, very angry.
Oh, my God. Saskatchewan is now allowing pregnant women to receive the vaccine regardless of age.
Sounds like another teenage mishap waiting to happen.
Scientists say the antibodies will be passed on to the offspring.
Creating super babies.
I mean,
No, they can't join the X-Men, though, after what happened with Brian Singer.
Okay, enough about Brian Singer. Let's make a baby.
Let's make a baby.
Yes.
We make the baby the way people make babies.
I mean, are there other ways?
We make the baby.
We thought it would be over by 2021, but this gosh darn plague still isn't done.
If only people could make enough space instead of spitting virus in each other's face.
Every day, even younger people are dying.
And travel bans can't stop the flying.
Anti-vaxxers and Black Lives Matter. It feels like all our hopes and dreams are shattered.
All of the friends I haven't seen just stay at home, do you know what I mean?
On top of all this, it's tax season.
Oh shit, Serb is gonna ruin me.
But now we can see
a faint glimmer of hope. We've gotta stick it to COVID and get that poke. Together we can make a pregnancy. We've gotta get that vaccine. I'm so ready to get it in me. Except for maybe AstraZeneca. winter cold has taken me. So far from positivity, I sit here scrolling through the doom.
But spring is here and we can bloom.
It's time to
Make a baby
to get that vaccine. It's time to make a baby right after we do this pointless key change.
Poke me harder, harder than COVID.
I'll poke you harder than I ever did.
We'll fornicate together
for immunity to spread. Then we'll get in our car and take another road trip to the States.
and we can make it to
spring break.
Oh no,
What?
it's going to be a Capricorn. It's fine. We'll start them in therapy young.
Yeah, great.
No, oh, wait. How are people supposed to know? How are we going to prove that we are pregnant?
We get shirts made.
Oh, yeah. The ones that say, I'm stuffed with a little turkey.
And I made the stuffing.
It's infallible. All right. Get in me, and then let's get in that clinic.
Dude, we're here. Wait, which vaccine are we getting?
Roll call, please.
I'm Pfizer.
Moderna.
Hi, I'm AstraZeneca.
And we are Johnson & Johnson.
We are all here
To save the day.
Seems like quite the selection.
Do they all offer ultimate protection?
Well, from the virus, yeah. But the members of Bombargo are still at large.
I wish we could vaccinate against assholes.
Yeah, seriously.
I'm Pfizer. I'm the best, way better than the rest. I can take all the infection out of your chest. 95% efficacy. Look at me go. I require doses, just so you know.
Moderna checking in, and I'm pretty much the same. The only difference is my fancy name. Oh, and I don't have to be stored quite as cold, so put me at -20 and we're good to go.
Well, hello there. It's me. I'm AstraZeneca.
Hey! I've heard bad things about you.
Efficacy rates are important, but
You're the blood clot killer.
you have to factor in the time of the vaccine trials.
You think I'm about to make an educated decision?
I was tested in different countries around the world during peak infection times and during the variants.
So?
So, Pfizer and Moderna were tested against regular COVID-19 and only in the States and only in the summertime when cases were low.
Yeah, stop with your sound arguments.
So, essentially, we are all effective against protecting you from COVID-19, and it's impossible to compare us.
But what?
Shut up! It's my solo. I'm incredibly helpful and equally effective. So roll up your sleeve and get injected. For the sake of the world, you gotta let your body heal. Yeah.
Hi, we're Johnson & Johnson.
Shut up!
Shut up!
Oh, so many choices. I can't possibly choose.
Well, I mean, it looks like a win-win. No way to lose.
What if we decide to take them all?
Even Johnson & Johnson?
Yeah. I mean, why the heck not? Literally, the chance of a clot is 1 in a million.
Figure of speech?
No, figure of science. A chance of a clot with COVID is 1 in 6.
Well, if we take all of them, that's a 316% efficacy rate.
We'll be safe into the next 3 lifetimes.
I don't think I want to live that long.
Yeah, that's true.
Give me your arm, roll up your sleeve.
We're about to deliver this vaccine.
Side effects include staying alive
And some minor pain at the injection site.
Inject me. Inject me. Poke, 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 poke,
Jenna went on to give birth to a super baby after an unprecedented 14-month pregnancy. The little monster weighed in at 22 pounds, 5 ounces. Only 2 ounces smaller than the largest baby ever born. Is that true?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. The baby was immune to all viruses, and its only true downfall was that it was a Capricorn. They make a living off their YouTube channel, Super Baby, and me.
Connor lived a full life until the age of 32, when he took a flight to Florida for spring break and died of a blood clot. The end.
Amazing. Great job. The ultimate poke, everybody. It's so great. We should have more musicals. I feel like that's a thing. That needs to be a continued thing. Awesome. All right. I would like to call Sylvie and Liz back up here for their final song. All right. Yeah, put your hands together. I do want to say I have been hearing on the chat that ice cream is a huge thing for everybody in the summertime. Also biking, flowers, again, and rosé wine. Cold rosé wine. Yeah. What is your favorite thing to do in the summer?
I love to go bike riding. I love to swim.
Liz?
My name is Liz, and I like to be outside. And what else is good in the summer? Yeah, the lake. The lake is really good in the summer. Yeah.
That too. All right. C'est ma cousine.
So this is our last song. We wrote this one a while ago, last summer, actually. And it just kind of came to us in like 10 minutes, which is really fun.
And very fast. It's called Bon à marier, which is an expression in French. And we hear it often, Liz and I, from family members, mostly community members. So this is kind of a response to that expression.
Yeah.
Prête?
Yeah.
Moi, je suis une femme, j'étais une bonne femme. Je suis bonne à marier, je sais même faire des bébés. stehen femme, stehen bonne femme.
All right, thanks for having us last Sunday show.
Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much for being here and for joining us for the last Sunday. Give them another round of applause. Those harmonies, so good. Whew. I got chills. I got a few of my little hairs on the back of my neck are standing. Yeah, thank you, Ricardo. I would like to thank the library. We have one of our sponsors is the Saskatoon Library. And if you are looking any of the topics that we talk about, any of the discussions that we talk about here at Last Sunday, the library has compiled a list of books and resources that you can go through and read up on a lot of the topics that we kind of discuss over the last Sunday. So we just want to give a big shout out to them. I also wanted to kind of talk about, what else did I want to say? And the podcast, that's the one I was wondering. If you are wanting to listen to this again, and my great hosting, I feel like, and any of these wonderful talents that we've had all evening, we do have Some Theater podcast, and you can catch this on any of the places that you can get your podcasts from. So there's that, and you can also watch the Last Sunday again on our YouTube channel as well. So right now it's time for the hot seat, which is always a favorite of mine. So I'd like to call up Joel Bernbaum and Delilah to come in to the stage. And any of you out there, and I'm sure Joel will remind you as well, if you are wanting to ask questions, this is the time of the night that you can ask those questions. So just throw them in the chat, and Laura is on there, and she will direct the questions straight to Joel. And yeah, so enjoy.
Applause for Crystal, yeah? Thank you. It's great. So much better than the last host, I'll have to say. Delilah Kamahanda, welcome to the Last Sunday Hot Seat. Thank you for taking the time. I know you had another event this evening. You came just from that event. Could you tell us a little bit about what that event was?
Yeah, so earlier this evening, and probably maybe still going on, I don't know, we had like a community hangout with another organization in Regina called Black in Saskatchewan, and we just kind of people in Saskatchewan, Black folks, allies, BIPOC, just coming together and talking about we had quite a week.
Wow, absolutely.
of news up and down stories, so just chatting and getting to support each other.
Well, thank you for making time for us after that, during that other virtual event that's going on.
Of course.
We'll get to that quite a week in a second here. Delilah, you are the founder, or is it co-founder, of Black Lives Matter Saskatoon. Just going back in your life a little bit, when you were younger, did you want to be an activist? Was that something that started at an early age?
No.
No. Okay. What did you want to be when you grew up?
Growing up, I wanted to be a doctor.
A doctor?
I wanted to study diseases and virology and immunology. And
you would have had a lot of work right now.
Yes, I would.
Yeah.
So I really made the wrong decision. But I love it. I'm good with bad decisions.
What drew you to that career, like being an immunologist?
I don't know. I always loved science, and I thought medicine was cool. And then once I kind of like actually started taking classes in that realm, I just really love diseases. They're so cool. And I work in sexual health now, and I still really love diseases. They are very cool when they're not shutting down the whole entire world.
Yes, good point. And so you said you work in sexual health now. You're at a combined position at Out Saskatoon and...
Yeah, and Saskatoon Sexual Health. I wear many hats. I do sexual health coordinating for both organizations, and then in what little free time I have from that, I do some community health education around environmental racism, which is another passion of mine.
What's environmental racism?
It is looking at environmental injustices and scenarios, and even just the setup of landscapes, neighborhoods, and what toxins are in certain neighborhoods versus others, and talking about how, the structures of our communities sometimes are founded in racism, segregation, and things like that, and it can impact our health and environment and the toxins around us and in our bodies.
How do you feel about toxins? You're pro-virus. What about toxins?
I'm pro-virus in theory.
Pro-virus in theory.
I'm not pro-toxin.
So antitoxin? Yeah.
I think it's fair to say I'm anti-toxin.
Okay. What's the worst toxin out there?
That's tough to say. I think I'll say the worst for me the worst for me is usually like the favorite. So I have a favorite virus and a favorite bacteria.
Yeah.
And for me, my favorite toxin is botulinum, so botulism.
Botulism.
Yes.
Okay. You heard it here first. Botulism.
Lead is a close second.
Lead is a close second, but not compared to the botchies. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it's fun. I also took food science, so botulism.
I once took a shrimp ring on a canoe trip and experienced the botchies firsthand, so I don't recommend it. But we're off topic. As you said off the top, even though we're joking around, a really big week in the news, very serious topics. What was your reaction when you heard the verdict, the Chauvin verdict?
I have been thinking about this before coming here, and like I said, our event today, we were just kind of checking in with each other, supporting each other, and I still struggle with an answer to that. It was very confusing. I got the CBC News alert that the verdict had came in guilty on all 3 counts or charges, and I was shocked. I had to go to Google, and then I had to call my sister and be like, are you getting, is the news the same in the States as it is in Canada? That's how shocked I was.
You didn't believe it was real?
I didn't believe it was real. I think thinking back to it, so my first was just shock. And then I thought a lot about the Trayvon Martin case, and when George Zimmerman was found innocent in that case, and the stark differences between those 2 times. And I was like, you know what, at first I was like, that's such an improvement, in youth today's lives, this will be the decisions that is such a clear reminder to them, whereas mine was something a lot more negative. And then I got really disappointed and upset because, the fact that I have to be like, my nephew or my, the young people in my life, this will be that event for them. And then thinking back to, well, the event for them, shouldn't be that someone is found guilty of a murder that we all witnessed around the world. What the goal should be is that they don't have to see those murders, that those murders aren't happening,
So a total mixed bag of emotions.
Oh, for sure.
Right in that moment.
I feel like I'm still in the mixed bag of emotions.
Are you? Okay. Can we go a little back into the founding of Black Lives Matter, YXE? When did that happen, and why did you feel compelled to do that here in Saskatoon?
Yeah, so I moved to Saskatoon 6 or so years ago, and there's a few spaces for Black folks to kind of get together or us to talk about racism and anti-racism, but I think there was maybe a gap that needed to be filled, and I kind of had a little inkling of that, but I was a student at the time and working and no time to really do anything and still gaining my footing in the area. And then around this time, last year actually, I was closing up office and shop at my last place of work and getting everything to hunker down for what we thought would be a 2-week isolation. Now is more than a year. And
I think we all thought that.
Yes.
First, yeah.
So I was walking home, enjoying last day of freedom, and this man just approached me on the street, and I was really confused in what he was asking or saying, and the gist of it really was, hey, I see the color of your skin, I don't think you belong in this neighborhood, and I think that you stole something. And it became a violent altercation very quickly, and I think he really believed that he had authority over me in that situation and wasn't sure why I wasn't complying with a random man with his hood up, sunglasses on, things that clearly showed that he was trying to conceal his identity, approaching me on the street. it's so bizarre that I was not into just following what he said. So he got really violent in that situation. And I was lucky that someone saw and ran out and was like, get out of here, I'm gonna call the police. And he responded to the person that came out, yes, call the police on her. And she was like, sir, I just saw you touch this woman inappropriately and get physical and violent with her. I'm calling the police on you. And he told her, you should know better. People like her are always stirring up trouble in our neighborhoods. People like her are what bring the neighborhood down. She was like, and she was so shocked and like, did he really just openly tell me that he's a racist? And you know, like she offered to help me like go to the police, and I don't want to. I just want to finish my walk and get home. And after that situation, I think I went into the fight mode in fight or flight. And when I got home, I think the fear set in and the gravity of that situation set in. And I was terrified to leave my house. I was, for lack of a better word, lucky that we were in a pandemic and I didn't have to leave my house. I couldn't even go for a walk around the neighborhood without my partner. It was that, like, I was terrified. And then the first rally for George Floyd happened, I think, end of May or June last year. And I heard about it maybe like an hour before it was happening, very close to the start time. And I was like, I'm going. And I texted my partner and I said, hey, I'm walking, which was odd for me at the time.
Yes.
I'm walking to this protest. I'm putting on my mask and I'm going, and like the fear that I felt and even like the stories that I was hearing kind of reinforced that fear. But when I knew that there was a protest, I felt compelled to go. And I went, and there was this feeling of passion and disappointment and grief and outrage and a feeling of action. Like we have a compassionate community and we want to act on this, but we don't know how. And I got home from that and I texted my cousin Alicia, who helped me start things off, and was like, I think we should make a BLM group for Saskatoon. And she said yes, and I was like, oh no. She agrees with me.
Now I have to do
Now
it.
we have to do something. And so we did it.
Wow. Well, thank you for sharing that story, that personal story, and I'm very sorry that happened to you. But in some silver lining type of way, it led to you founding this group, and I'm glad to hear that you did that. Yeah. And we have some questions. My phone is dinging. There's people on the chat already asking questions. If it's okay, we'll go to a question from the chat. How, in your opinion, can we get the education system to change and improve when teaching children so they don't grow up to be people who hide in hoodies with sunglasses on and doing stupid things? That was my part of the question. Yeah.
You know, I think that we need to turn to our educators of color and one, see what struggles they are having in the classroom or within the education system. And from what I hear, it's quite a bit of issues that they have within their schools or with administration and things like that. But for the educators that I know, once they do start having these conversations, not only do the kids like open up and really exhibit such like great amounts of empathy. Kids are amazing and actually more understanding than we give them credit for. And they don't, like most of the parents and teachers that I've heard from don't really hear a lot of pushback, like once they actually just start doing these things. So I think we need to turn to teachers and ask, how can we support them? And for parents, I think it's just having those conversations. And honestly, when it comes to these topics, even if you're not sure, like not every teacher is going to be 100% sure of what they're talking about. We have to give them, you know, the tools for teachers and for parents. Just talk about it. Your kid is probably going to ask you something and you're going to have no idea what the answer is, and that's fine. Tell them, hey, like, I don't have the answer, but we can talk about how we're going to find the right answer, how we're going to research this, or things like that. And I think that there is a lot of potential, especially within education.
To start a conversation.
Yes, to start a conversation and to give our young people the tools that if teachers or schools or their parents or communities aren't doing the job of, you know, telling them about anti-racism or instilling those values in them, that they have they have a way forward to like find out things on their own.
Thank you. More questions from the chat coming in. Please feel free to text your questions, enter your questions on the chat. Laura will be texting them to me. So if you have questions for Delilah, keep them coming. Speaking of schools, I understand that BLM YXE was part of a campaign semi-recently to have To Kill a Mockingbird removed from schools in Saskatoon. Can you tell me why you think that should happen?
Well, it's a petition. It's still up on change.org, so if you search us up, it's on there.
How many signatures approximately do you have right now?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I want to say maybe 5,000 or so.
Around 5,000?
A couple thousand.
Okay. It's a decent petition. Yeah.
Yeah, so that started, there was a petition around, like in the summer last year from Toby Omoyefa about having anti-racism and Black history taught in schools. And we wanted to support what he was talking about, but also bring about the issue that how can we get to a point where, anti-racism, like we just talked about, is in our schools if people are still afraid to go to English class. People are still afraid to go to school. So what it's about is not only looking at the materials that we're teaching and how they discuss racism or use the N-word, but what are we doing in schools to hold people accountable who are using that type of language?
Is that a racist book, To Kill a Mockingbird?
It's, okay, I have very sordid history with To Kill a Mockingbird. It's my mom's favorite book ever.
Really?
My mom's favorite book ever. And but I think the issue with To Kill a Mockingbird isn't that it's racist, it's that it's not anti-racist. So is it a book that we can have conversations about race from? For sure. I mean, of course. My issue with, it's not really an issue with To Kill a Mockingbird itself, it's my issue with stories that use the N-word that are also written by people who aren't Black, right? So in To Kill a Mockingbird, the main character is a white child, right? And so I think that a lot of the books that we once thought were such great stories about race and diversity and, that we maybe look back on now with our anti-racist hat and lens on, are more about white saviorism than they are about anti-racism.
What's white saviorism?
So white saviorism is basically a narrative or a common trope that racism would be solved by some savior, usually white or not a Black person, who is just going to come in and save the day. So think of The Help or To Kill a Mockingbird or I think it's called The Blind Side with Sandra Bullock. And those stories, they take an element of race, but to make it more appealing to a wider audience or to a whiter audience, the main character is usually a white person who, even though there's horrible things going on in the story, you can still feel good about yourself because there's a white person going out there and speaking against what's going on.
Right.
And I think we see that narrative kind of dissipating as we see more stories, books, movies, shows, plays, and all that come out where people are like, hey, we don't need to have a white lead to make things more palatable.
Thankfully. A few more questions from the chat coming in, but before we go to that, I want to go to something that I find interesting here on this land, in this province, and you mentioned the rally, and I don't know if it was this rally, but early on, after George Floyd's murder, there was a rally here for Black Lives Matter, and one of my friends who is Indigenous said, well, that's nice. There's thousands of people going out to a Black Lives Matter rally. You would never get those kind of numbers at an Indigenous Lives Matter rally. How do you respond to that? Is there a certain coolness about Black Lives Matter that it's not cool to do Indigenous Lives Matter? Where's the intersection there?
I think this is kind of along the lines of a common question that we get. And my first response is always, well, why do we think that BLM is cool? And I think something to maybe think on for people is that often we see that Black culture or issues or topics are often commodified and whitewashed and brought into this idea of coolness and exotification and things like that, that we often think, oh, this is cool and it's harmless and cultural appropriation doesn't hurt anyone, but I mean, it does. And performative allyship does hurt people, and the commodification and exotification of our cultures and issues does hurt and impact people. So I think that's some food for thought. But to get to your question, really, I think that speaks to the nature of racism in Saskatchewan. And I think that
There's racism in Saskatchewan?
No, we just exist to talk about racism theoretically.
All right.
Like
no being a theoretical fan of a virus, right? Yeah. Okay. Right.
But
it's a special kind of thing, racism in Saskatchewan.
I think a lot of people felt more comfortable coming to a BLM rally for some, because if we're being honest, Saskatchewan's a very white province. You know, there's not a lot of black people. I think many people in Saskatoon or Saskatchewan might not have ever grown up with many black people or any black people in their close communities or close circles. And so I think it's a racism that we can feel far removed from. And I've noticed that when we bring up issues of anti-black racism in people's own backyards, it gets a little bit more heated, right? It gets a little bit more personal and emotional and defensive, whereas anti-Indigenous racism is something that people here are usually very familiar with. It's the racism that, you know, they maybe heard most often at home, or racism that they're still dealing with unlearning themselves. And so I think that our mission for BLM-YXC is always to work in solidarity with Indigenous folks, and to always look to them for their experience and knowledge, because this is their land, and undoubtedly they experience things at a more heightened level than we do, especially in this area. And I think that the fact that less people are at Indigenous rallies or coming to talk about Indigenous issues, especially during this time, speaks to the fact that we still have a long way to go. I think it speaks to the fact that maybe people aren't comfortable with talking about the racism that's closest to them.
Or that they might be involved in,
yes,
right? That they
for
might
sure.
be in their backyard. Well said.
When I first started this, I remember my friend told me she met this person. This person was at work and she was getting a service or buying something from this person, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I definitely support Black Lives Matter. I love Black folks. You know, my partner is Black and all this stuff." And they're like, "Oh, okay, great. You know, we weren't talking about this, but sure, you're just bringing this up." And she goes, "The real problem is Indigenous people."
Right.
And everybody in the room just kind of looks at this woman like, okay, we just spent a good 10 minutes talking about anti-racism unprovoked because you saw I was a person of color, and then you told me that you're a blatant racist as well in the same breath.
And how did you respond to that woman?
I wasn't there, but I was being told about it, and
right.
they were shocked, and they were like, "Well, why would you say that? And, you know, they're the ones that do this and that and da-da-da." And I think that's a sentiment that we see a lot of, actually. And sometimes people don't say it as blatantly like that, but I think it's definitely a common held belief of some people that may have been attending that rally, or may have been talking about BLM or posting, you know, doing performative allyship type things, but have not addressed the racism that they hold within themselves or within their communities.
I see. Time for one or two more questions from the chat here. How can we encourage people to continue the work after the quote unquote fad or hyper excitement over BLM passes?
I love talking about this. So I think the biggest issue with when we say the work, or how do we do the work, and it's like, the work, what is the work? It's so mysterious, right? And I think
for $29.95, you too can have the work.
Yes. I think the issue is that we say the work and we don't actually understand what it is sometimes. And that's a great question, because the work is personal, right? My version of the work is very different from yours or someone else's. We all are at different stages of our anti-racist journey, or getting into the work. And I think the biggest piece in moving forward, so that this is more of a movement and a long-term thing, is understanding that, first of all, it is a long-term thing. It's a long-term commitment. And second, you have to really evaluate your life, your skills, your work and things like that, your career, your passions, and figure out what is going to work for you. For me, like my passion is outside of this is healthcare and writing and things like that. And so I try to bring those ideas of anti-racism and anti-oppressive practice to that. I've seen people bring anti-racism to baking, knitting, cross-stitching, performances, singing, poetry. There's a plethora of passions out there, and we have to figure out how are we going to bring these conversations to our own communities. And I think that's kind of how we keep this as something that's sustainable. We have to think about what are we capable of? If this is going to be long-term, what is our commitment looking like? And how can we continue to foster this momentum, these conversations, and this desire for change, right?
Do you see movement like within Saskatchewan, within this, as you've identified, a majority white province, within the white stream? Do you see a change in the last year?
When we first start seeing rallies pop up, Paula Collins, who runs Masalam Modeling, she held a BLM rally a few years ago. I can't remember when, but and it was a lot smaller. They had a lot of like hateful comments online, a lot of targeting, and I mean we still see that, but it was pretty tough. It was not a great time, and I think we did not receive that same level of hatefulness. If we did, I didn't see it, so thank God. But I think there was a huge difference, and there was a larger amount of people understanding what's going on, and I think that's maybe the power of social media, also the power of our communities changing and becoming a lot more diverse.
Within the same month, though, as the Chauvin verdict, we have the killing of Dante Wright, another black man dying. In the face of that, those kind of things, what keeps you going in doing your work? What gives you hope?
Oh, that's tough. I feel like this week, my hope shot up and then instantly plummeted. Dante Wright, and then a few days later, or moments later, really, Ma'Khia Bryant, and it can be tough. And I think that's also a reason why this type of work and these type of conversations are hard. It's uncomfortable, it's painful, it's heavy, and sometimes you don't have hope. Sometimes you're just like, it's impossible. What has really, really helped me is my mentors around me, the people who I look up to within this type of work who have been doing it for years and continue to do it. Black history and seeing the resilience of people throughout the centuries of racism and enslavement and things like that. And my biggest thing lately, I've never had a Happy Meal, but I hear that there's 3 things in a Happy Meal.
I can't tell you. I haven't had one either.
Okay.
But we're all going to Dairy Queen after the show.
I was told that there's 3 things in a Happy Meal in a podcast, and to pick 3 things that make you happy every day or every week or every so often. So in my little journal, I just write down 3 things. It can be a meme.
Yeah.
I love memes. It could be, I don't know,
every day
pumpkin pie blizzards, because those are my favorite. And just every day, 3 things that keep me hopeful, keep me happy, make me laugh, and I mean, just hanging on to those things. And then the biggest thing for me to keep the hope alive is youth. They are astounding. I mean, our rally was planned almost entirely by youth. And I mean, even young people like Olivia today, reading her poem, I tear up every time because they are amazing. I don't know how they became so smart. I think when I was 13, 14, I probably would not have been able to do the things that I see youth today do, but they are amazing and they have such a capacity to love and understand.
Well said. I think that's a great place to end. Delilah Kamahanda, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you, Crystal.
Yeah, thank you, Joel. Thank you, Delilah. Amazing conversations. I always love the hot seat. I always learn something every Sunday. I just want to thank everyone for joining. Those of you that are at home, those of you that are performers in the audience here at the Broadway Theatre, all of our partners, Some Theatre, Regina, Spark Theatre in Swift Current, Lyric Theatre in Prince Albert, and the Community Theatre in North Battleford. Thank you for joining us every last Sunday and being a part of our last Sunday. I also just wanted to shout out too that if you are looking to help out in any way or try and find a way to help in this kind of way. We at Some always want to have free theater or community theater. We're all about the community and bringing art and important things to the public. And in order to do that, we rely on a lot of our donations and support from the community in order to continue to create and offer free theater to the public. So if you are wanting to donate, you can find those links on our website. So I encourage you to do that. Thank you so much for joining us there at home. And make sure to come back for episode 8 of it's the last Sunday of the season next month. So you're not going to want to miss out on that. So thank you, all of our performers and all of you for joining us in, and have a great evening.